what you need to know about lymphatic drainage post-surgery. So many times I get asked this question, like, when do I do it? How do I do it? How soon? What does this look like? So let's dive in. Now, again, it's going to vary per person and based on the surgery. But before we get there, let's talk what should be done pre-surgery in order to improve and increase outcomes. So first and foremost, obviously, always follow the recommendations of your surgical team. Whatever they have you do, I would either do it or talk to them and question them about it if there's something you're uncomfortable with. Now, the other thing I would make sure that I'm doing is full body drainage pre-surgery, like a couple weeks before surgery. Make sure everything is moving and clearing, because when we end up having surgery, we end up having sutures, incisions, and all of that influences and alters how our lymphatic system drains. So we want to make sure that all of the waste that we have in our body has the ability to clear and drain before we go under the knife. So that's the very first thing I'm going to highly recommend. Now, what that's going to look like is going to be different per person. At minimum, the specific 7, making sure that those lymph nodes are open and clear so that your lymph fluid has somewhere to go and drain. That is the most important thing. The next might be doing manual lymphatic massage. If you're somebody that maintains fluid or has lymphatic congestion and you know it, doing manual lymphatic massage, maybe even jumping on a rebounder or a vibration plate based on your specific needs and condition, could be beneficial to help move the lymphatic fluid in your lymph vessels. Because again, we don't want old waste just sitting there, because when we go in for surgery, our body is going to have to deal with a whole new set of, I don't want to use the word complication, but a whole new set of circumstances that's going to contribute to additional lymphatic fluid being present. So we don't want to already have a bunch of congestion and then add a whole bunch more onto it. It's just going to be a lot more for our body to handle. So if it were me and what I've done in the past when I've had cavitation surgery, I wish I would have known this when I had a meniscal tear fixed in my early 20s. I probably would have had a quicker recovery. Post-surgery, when I came out of anesthesia, taking the anesthesia wore off, I would have taken a binder. And the reason I would have taken a binder would have been to just help clean up the binder that's circulating so that I can get back to clear thinking, so that my body can get back to what it's supposed to do more quickly. Now, outside of that, that is totally up to you whether you want to do it, whether that's something you feel comfortable with, or whether, that's something, you don't want to do. That's totally fine. But let's jump to the lymphatic component. I.e., what do you do post-surgery, and is it something you should do post-surgery when it comes to lymphatic drainage? So when we have surgery, there's going to obviously be trauma. And whenever there's trauma, there's going to be inflammation. Now, a lot of people, and especially in today's day and age, we're like, oh my gosh, inflammation, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. It's terrible for you. We got to get rid of it. Yes. Except inflammation, when it's acute, especially in this situation, like you're having surgery, there is a trauma, there needs to be an inflammatory response so that your body can heal. Inflammation is actually healing. I know. The problem with inflammation, though, is when it becomes no longer acute, it's no longer there for a short period of time. It is now there for years, decades, even weeks, months. What it does is inflammation breaks things down, and that's where we get into problems. So what I've seen with myself and what I've seen with hundreds of people, when they do lymphatic drainage appropriately based on their surgery and where they're at, they actually see sped up healing. I know. Now, why lymphatic drainage can help speed up healing is because it's going to help minimize, not get rid of, but minimize or reduce the amount of inflammation that your body produces based on that surgery, which is all good and important. We want inflammation. We just don't want an excess of inflammation. So if we can manage the amount of inflammation that our body is making post-surgery, our body will heal faster. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Like, who doesn't want that? So how we do that is we're going to start with just focusing on the lymph nodes. Now, why I say this is because depending upon your surgery, right? Like having a mummy makeover where you're getting a whole bunch done is very different than if you get your gallbladder removed or if you have a meniscal tear versus having a full knee replacement. There's different and variations to the surgery. So we gotta look at it from like a really wide scope right now. This is very generalized, all right? Now, obviously, before you do any of this, please get the okay from your surgeon. If there was any complications, anything like that, you obviously got to make this specific for you. But what I will say is the day of surgery, what I would 100% do is clear my termini, and I would do diaphragmatic breathing. That's going to do a couple things. One, clearing your termini is going to ultimately ensure that your lymphatic system has the opportunity to drain, because this needs to stay low pressure. If this is congested, nothing's gonna drain. And then the diaphragmatic breathing is a nice way to transition into a parasympathetic state, all while helping pump and pull fluid from the lower half of our body up into our left clavicle, so our left termini. So that would be what I would do for the first day or two. Now, what you always need to note, if there's any infection, if there's oozing, if there is open sutures, you are not going to be doing lymphatic drainage until that gets taken care of. Understood? Perfect. Now let's assume that everything's sutured over, there's no infections, there's no worry about infection, everything's looking really good. What I would do is I would be doing the specific 7 lymph node clearing. Now there's one thing that I want you to understand. If you have incisions over one of the areas where you would be doing the lymph node clearing, you would not be doing that specific one. We are not going to be touching anything that has been cut open and trying to heal. We're staying clear from that, all right? So we want to make sure that we're going to stay above and even below the area. You may not want to go below for the first 3 to 5 days, depending upon how you're healing and what type of surgery it is. So I would always stay above, diaphragmatic breathe, and then work on the lymph nodes that have not been affected if it's in an area where you were getting surgery. If that doesn't make sense, write me a comment below and I'll try and explain it a little differently. After a couple days, once the incision is healed over, okay, that's when I would start to do some manual drainage in that area. Now, let's pretend that we were doing a knee replacement. You can do all of the lymphatic drainage from your groin up through your head, and that is totally fine. That is not going to affect your knee. Now, if you have an infection in your knee, I'm going to advise you to talk to your primary, talk to your surgeon before doing this, just to make sure that you know what is going on with your body and they're aware of what you're wanting to do. Now, no infection present, I 100% would be doing all the lymphatic drainage, groin and up. That's just gonna help with clearing the fluid and making sure that it doesn't get crazy big. Because think of it this way, we replace our right knee, if we have lymphatic congestion in our right groin, we're gonna end up with more fluid sitting in our knee because there's nowhere for it to move. So we want to make sure that we're clearing those lymph nodes that we're able to clear. Now, once the sutures, the surgery, the area in which you've had that has been cut into is healed over, then you can start to work that area. Now, I would make sure that, like I said, everything's healed over. I would then be doing simple things to help work out the scar tissue. Why? Scar tissue is absolutely going to affect lymphatic drainage. It's going to prevent your lymphatic fluid from flowing. So the sooner you can work on scar tissue, and here's the thing, if you have scars that are decades old, this is something you're probably still going to want to do, because when we can soften the scar up, what it's going to do is it's going to allow for better drainage. So think of C-section scars, think of hip replacement scars, think of mastectomy scars, think of all of those. We're going to want to slowly break it up so that we can have better drainage. So that would be something that you might want to consider doing. And by might want to, I'm going to highly encourage it, but do it at your rate. Be very mindful. It's not aggressive. And then the next thing I would say is you're going to then want to start doing some more manual drainage using your hands. If you're cleared for a vibration plate or a rebounder, you can do that. But I would definitely start with hands because it's super gentle and very effective. Now, always, if you're unsure, talk to your surgeon and see when it's right for you to implement. But what I can tell you is I've seen hundreds of people when they started implementing lymphatic drainage post-surgery, they get better results. They heal faster, they have less pain. And I'm just speaking from the people that I've personally worked with and seen this happen with. And who wants to hold on to a whole bunch of extra waste products in our body? I mean, nobody. So do these couple things, give it a try. If you are having surgery, I hope you don't ever need surgery, but if you do, and then let me know how it goes. Thanks for being here and happy draining.